Hello.
Stevie Nicks on the line.
Hi, how are you?
I'm better now.
Karen was just, she said to me, she showed me your name. She goes, how do you think you pronounce it? And I said, well, if he's French, it's Cerphe.
Yeah, it's an old family name. Gets mispronounced all the time, but close enough for rock and roll.
Hello, Mr. Cerphe.
Bonjour, Mademoiselle Nicks. Ça va aujourd'hui? Stevie, you and I have met before. I had you on the air when I was on HFS. You and Lindsay and John McVie and Mick Fleetwood came out to the studio right after you had joined Fleetwood Mac.
150 years ago.
Was it late 74 or early 75?
Early 75, because Mick called us on New Year's Eve, 1974, and so I consider that we joined January 1st, 1975.
Yeah, that would be a date you remember.
Oh, yeah. When you're a cleaning lady and somebody calls you and asks you to join a well-known English band, you remember the date.
Stevie, looking at all your material, the Buckingham Nicks stuff, the Fleetwood Mac stuff, your solo stuff, it's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot, and it is great. I mean, it's like, last night we were on the plane coming in, and the pilot had given me one of the best of Stevie Nicks records and The Wild Heart, and which I wrote little stories. And I don't think I've even looked at these records in 15 years.
That's funny you say that, because I was going to ask you, when you finish a record, do you go back and revisit it years later, listen to it again?
When I finish a record, I pretty much move on because I don't really want to be influenced by anything on the last record, so once I finish a record, I don't really go back and listen to it. And I guess in my heart, I kind of think that nobody else does either. And I know that's wrong because people come and say, well, this made this to me, or this was that for me.
Yeah.
But I'm reading these stories about, I was reading last night about why I wrote Edge of 17. And I just was in tears. I had forgotten that I was living with Jimmy Iovine and that John Lennon died.
Wow.
And that I spent like 3 days trying to console him, and then I finally just said, I got to go home to Phoenix because you're going to need to do this by yourself because I don't know how to help you on this one.
Isn't it amazing how powerful music is? It can bring you right back to a moment, can it?
And and all of a sudden I was just like, because, I do Edge of 17 every night. And so the next time I walk on stage and do Edge of 17, I'm going to feel a little different about it, It
does bring you back. And It's such a healing thing. Music is such a therapeutic thing because you can write a song like that and it can help you through certain things.
Absolutely.
Because it definitely does for us in the audience, I will tell you that.
Right. Well, thank you.
I was shopping one time in Scottsdale and I saw you in Bed Bath & Beyond and I did not bother you. I didn't go up and go, hey, Stevie! I didn't do that. And that's how much I respect you and love your music. I didn't bother you.
That's my favorite store. You may see me in Bed Bath & Beyond all over the United States.
I was in Scottsdale. It was a couple years ago, and I said, no, I'm going to let her buy her damn sheets.
Oh, you should have come up.
No, you didn't look like you wanted to deal with a radio bonehead. I left you alone. How do you write music, Stevie? Do you have a method?
Well, I'm pretty much, for instance, last night we were at the end of our set,
right,
and I was doing Edge of 17, and I was walking across the front of the stage, and when the song's kind of almost over, and I go across and I just shake everybody's hand, and I got to the middle of the stage, and I had gone around the monitor, and I just kind of put my hands down, and all of a sudden I was holding both of the hands of this little girl, and she looked very ill, and I stopped in my tracks. And I stood there for about 30 seconds, just like transfixed, and I didn't know what to say to her because it's so loud, the music and everything.
Yeah.
And I just held her hands, and I just wanted to kind of drop down to my knees and just give her a hug and say, like, oh, stay with us for a moment more, And so, of course, I came home last night, and I wrote a poem about her. And I don't know who she was, and I don't know if she was just having a terrible day, or if I was right and she was really sick, or what. But of course, the second I got off that 2.5-hour flight, I went straight to my room and got some paper, and I wrote a poem about her. And I will put that poem to music. So that really is how I write. That's what happens. When something inspires me or touches me, then I cannot wait to get, I ran in this hotel room and straight to the desk, because I wanted to put it down with the emotion that I had felt 3 hours before.
Well, it really translates, Stevie, because every time I play one of your songs, I always leave the monitors up very loud here in the studio. It's powerful stuff, and we really, really do appreciate all that good energy, what you bring to the party.
Well, thank you. It's the love of my life, People say to me, Lo, so what is your perfect evening? What would you do if you have your perfect evening? And for me, that's like, a room with an amazing view,
right, and
over water, and a desk and paper and a really good pen and some kind of inspiration. That is the moment that I live for. as a writer, that is, really, when you think about it, I pretty much dedicated my whole life to that. I didn't get married, I didn't have children, so that I could do this, and I could do my art uncompromised without having to answer to anybody else about where I was or why I wasn't home or when I was going to be home or why I was, going to spend the evening writing instead of going out to dinner with somebody, or that's what my life has been. It really has been pretty much dedicated to putting those words on papers that I think will help people in some way at some point down the line.
Good stuff. We were talking about The Edge of 17. With the Fleetwood Mac stuff, do you have any favorite songs like Rhiannon or any other Fleetwood Mac songs?
The songs transfer back and forth from band to band. We do, in Fleetwood Mac, we do Goldust Woman, we do Rhiannon.
Of course.
Those songs all transfer.
Right.
And so they're really great with Fleetwood Mac, and they're really great with my band. So it's like, I look at those songs as songs that really don't belong to anybody. They're just like out there in the cosmos, and people want to hear them. So whenever I play, I pretty much play those songs, and then I build the rest of the sets in Fleetwood Mac and in my own thing around those songs.
A couple of years ago, with your solo band, not with Fleetwood Mac, but with your band, you did a tour with Don Henley. How was that? Was it fun?
It's been very fun doing this thing with Don Henley. It's been like a 1950s review, because we come on and off and on and off and on and off in each other's sets. So he and I start at 8 o'clock and don't finish until 11:30.
That's great.
So it's like, it was very difficult for the first 3 shows. We're like, oh my God, this is the hardest thing we've ever done.
You're in town this weekend. You're playing Verizon Center here in D.C.
I love Washington, D.C. After 9/11, we were there several times, and flying in and out of Washington, D.C. with F-16s, next to our lair.
Wow.
When I think of Washington, D.C., I just totally think about that time, and I sent some stuff. There was a hotel that we stayed on. There was a fire department right across the street, and I sent one of those kind of Mrs. Beasley baskets over, with a note. When I think about Washington, D.C., I just can't help but go back to that poignant, amazing time.
Well, it was an amazing time being here in D.C., living here during 9/11. We all found out what was important. We all grew up a lot. Stevie Nicks, thank you so much for taking time to talk to me this afternoon. It's great to talk to you again.
But how could I forget this very French name?
Oui, mademoiselle. Well, I can't cop to being French. Swiss and Dutch, but not so much French.
So come back, and really, I'm very excited to come to Washington.
Yeah, we'll see you backstage at Verizon Center, and who knows, maybe somewhere down the line at a Bed Bath & Beyond at the mall.
Well, in Phoenix, I'm in Phoenix because I live there. Phoenix is a very easy place for me to be, and everybody that lives there knows I live there.
Sure.
So everybody treats me with a lot of respect, and I can pretty much, in Phoenix, I can go anywhere I want. I don't have bodyguards. I just have my assistant,
Yeah.
And I just tool all around Phoenix and totally enjoy being there. So it would have been fine if you had come up and said hi to me.
Stevie, I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
You're so welcome.